Ransom, thanks for joining. Because everything we're seeing right now seems to indicate August and July are going to be some dicey months along with October. So I keep getting messages, you better step up your game faster. And I said, okay, I thought I was going pretty fast, but I guess not. I want to stay positive because, it seems like we're going from crisis to crisis, more like heavier, powerful message and narrative to the next one, to the next crisis is heavy and more powerful and heavy and more powerful, and it's just a cycle of never ending. Where's the breathing room, Ransom? We need oxygen in a rainforest to set us free with bare feet. The CEO of Wells Fargo warns the worst is yet to come for Americans. Deutsche Bank is forecasting a major recession among similarities to the 1970s era stagflation and real wealth destruction. If the playbook follows the 1970s, gold and silver are the standout cheap asset from this starting point. Bloomberg Intelligence forecast $2,500 gold by the year's end. Meanwhile, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo see gold hitting record highs in 2022. Former Gold Corp chairman Ian Telfer warns peak gold has been reached regarding maximum output, and for that reason raised his forecast to $2,500 an ounce. Call the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late. Patriot Gold Group has the no fee for life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold and silver, and you may be eligible for the no fee for life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Call 1-800-356-4470 for a free investor guide today. And with the knowledge that Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated IRA gold dealer from 2016 to present, click on that link in the description box below. And now on with the video. Good afternoon, everyone. David Dubine here. Thank you for spending your valuable time with the Adapt 2030 channel. I'll be talking with Ransom Godwin from 420 TV Freedomist Films. How the messaging all in unison is saying skyrocketing prices right here, right now. So what action can you do today to improve your existence on this earth? Things are going to get strange on the food side. So, growing up, we've always been so used to never-ending available foods, too many choices in a supermarket. Never had lived through a shortage in the U.S., regionally maybe for a hurricane, but I'm not talking about the full U.S. You're starting to see more stories in the news about food. All these people are going to wake up that are in the business and financial news, and that's pretty much where all these articles are centered right now. That, financial news of the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, World Economic Forum, and Bank for International Settlements all in unison say we're going into food shortages in October. These little tidbits that are lighting the way. Hey, you should see the messaging is clean and clear by now. Whether it's a gaffe or an on-purpose gaffe, it's here, it's now, and to look at it that way, I'm just consciousness having this human experience right now reframes everything into just a different way to feel about what all is happening. I almost become just an observer at 60,000 feet above it all, just with that very one statement.
Yeah, no joke. Everywhere you look, especially this, I was looking at CNBC. So, when all the mainstream media people are now on the bandwagon of the same thing right here. Cost of living crisis after more hot inflation. Inflation's up, skyrocketing. But I talked about it several episodes back where I was talking about the Great Depression and when people started leaping off buildings. And we're seeing weird behavior like that. There's entire articles on Reddit. People are losing their minds over cryptocurrency crisis we're in right now. People are literally freaking out like things are already at an end right now when it's we still got a ways to go to deal with stuff. People are worried about all of their accounts getting wiped out, retirement accounts. This is exactly what everyone was talking about when we talked about the Great Reset was coming soon. And I was talking about people lining up for food riots by May. That exactly happened in the Middle East, right on cue. And this crypto crisis thing, bad to worse. The crypto exchange is now warning that bankruptcy could wipe out users' funds, meaning that they'll just take all that money with them because they own all of the wallets, except for the people that have the private keys to their own cryptocurrency. But if they had it in these big wallets of these firms, we may be just seeing where it just disappears right in front of them. And even if they still own it, it'll get caught up in litigation for some time. There are already people having to go to therapy because they're losing their minds over their worth disappearing. But I think some of these should be hanging on, and this, might have a bright future. I've been watching it, and every single crypto right now, if you look at it, you don't see people selling. I was looking at people buying and buying and buying. So I think a big transformation of wealth is right there on the crypto. They're going to scare all the regular people out of it, and then they're going to accumulate all the wealth that it's built over the last couple of years. What a neat way to suck up more resources right on the plummet of all of these. It's right in the back of like the stock market, commodities exchanges, the housing market, unemployment's skyrocketing. People are finally admitting that things are not working and they're getting scared. It is a little bit late, but there's never a better time to do things if you're good under pressure, at least right now. What are you going to eat when you lose all your money?
Government assistance is what I will eat. Whatever form that comes in, whether it be a digital rationing card, a food stamp, or actual handout, physical food in your hand like you were talking about. But that's where it's going to go. So the more people on that system are going to be more dependent to prop the system up because it's feeding them. That's at the base level. That's scary. You crash an economy, people are angry. You crash their food supply, and there's something very different that happens. The same with giving food. They're going to defend that system to the 100 times more than if they were just defending it because of economics or a job or economy or whatever.
It seems like a Broadway play, for example. Everybody's doing their part. They're saying the right things at the right times. They're really snowball affecting this fear from the financial to the food to looming this threat of actual World War III, because they're not letting go of this. They're going to go ahead with this World War thing. It probably won't be what everyone's picturing, but it is going to be a redrawing of the national lines, new alliances.
Yeah, they have to have a new end to something that has value as the old system collapses during this time. There has to be something that's going to replace it. Maybe not in whole, but at least a part, a leg. And the second leg that's already up and running is the carbon credit trading system. So those two legs, and then within that, they're going to digitize forest, which will also be a land asset value inside, kind of like a gold-backed currency, but this is going to be land-backed, resource-backed currencies. You have to pledge your land for 25 years, and then the carbon that's sequestered into the forest there, and they use different satellite technologies, LiDAR, et cetera, to see which types of tree species, how much CO2 that's going to sequester from that forest area. And usually, I think the minimum deposit that you have to pledge is 200 acres, or maybe it's 100 acres. But it's got to stay on their system for 25 years, and then you get revenue from that because there's carbon credits associated with it. Since I'd been following, it was as low as $8, and then it was up to 30, and then it was down to 20, and then it jumped to 80, and then back down again. But the peg that they're looking for is $200 for one carbon credit, and then associated with that will be personal allocation credits that will allow you as an individual to have little tiny carbon credits, and then you can go purchase something from a company that actually bought the big amount of carbon credits to make that product because they made CO2 go into the atmosphere. And because there's a tax and a charge on that, then there's money, again, as an asset class. We think that all this cryptocurrency might be so decentralized, et cetera, but it's going to get captured in the carbon taxes of the planet here because you're looking at electricity. I was making a joke in my earlier video that hamburgers at McDonald's were 15 cents. Or a milkshake was 40 cents. In the good old days when British Columbia's carbon taxes were $45 a ton, this kind of thing. And one of the videos I did this morning was actually talking about federal minimum carbon taxes out of Canada. And their minimum they set for 2030 is $170, which is very close to the 200 that I'd heard for quite some time. It goes down by the different province of how much people need to pay for their carbon credit. Now, this is going to be standard across the entire planet, and even crypto miners are going to get caught on into this because there's going to be carbon taxes on the electricity, regardless if it's in Iceland from hydro or if you're actually burning coal and natural gas to get it, same, but different. You're going to get stuck with carbon taxes on that. So even if you think that, running and escaping over into crypto is going to get you out of that, you're still in that system. And so that's why it's going to be a new asset pillar, because it's so stable and it includes so many aspects of things we have now. It's going to be different from land assets. It's going to be different from manufacturing assets. It's going to be all combined into one, plus a taxation on output. That's a new pillar. So is crypto. So I got a little long-winded there, but let me go back to the crypto for a second. They are spooking everybody out of it, unless you're holding. But these companies are buying up every Bitcoin that is out there. Now, they can't let it go too much lower because there's so many institutions, pension funds, insurance funds already deeply invested into Bitcoin. So it can only go so low before it's going to start affecting balance sheets. So BTC, that's not going to crash very much further. This is going to be a replacement for the economy crash coming in, along with all that carbon credit stuff. So combine these two now, plus gold and silver, and now you got three really very strong pillars to rebuild a full economy from. Then it starts to get interesting with the release about electric gravitics and the different Tesla technologies and free power. Even if you had generators running on the Earth's magnetic field, would they charge that in the carbon credit system? I'm not sure.
Meanwhile, when you look at the data below it, it shows you for each one, the majority of people that are involved in the cryptocurrency right now, like that are actively doing something, are buying. They're not selling, they're buying. They're buying everything because everything's at like rock bottom prices. So when you're dealing with this, you have to ask yourself, am I going to listen to mainstream media, or am I going to actually pay attention to what people are actively doing in the market? Because what I'm seeing is a bunch of people getting lowball prices because the smaller purchasers are all panicking and trying to get their money out before they lose it.
Remember, Ransom, when you and I had talked so many times that people are going to become aware that follow business news, agricultural news, finance news, etc. That is not very large of amount of people on the planet. But generally, those types of people who are in those businesses, in those industries, and follow that type of news will know there's something going on financially, like the markets were going to sell off. There was a lot of indicators for that. So for me, it's more like those people in the know that are getting the same messaging I am about these diesel shortages coming in, food shortages at the end of the year, are starting to exit, like sell their stocks to get money to go buy shovels or a farm or anything, a tractor, could be anything. People are selling stuff or selling their stocks or bonds, whatever it is. They're really selling things in the market to get liquid cash to go get ready for what's coming. That's that kind of crowd that has that money to sell and drop that. So perhaps letting no good crisis go to waste, it's amplified because there's so many people exiting at those levels to get that money right now. Could it be part of it? Very well could be.
And we kind of ended the show last time talking about that, about growing the right kind of stuff that's easily digestible for your children. We're still in the major propaganda phase. They want everyone completely convinced that there's just no help. There's just no way to, make things better. And it seems like they're really trying to shove people mentally in that area so that they just don't do anything for themselves. And then meanwhile, I'm looking around and I see certain people, I guess retirement age or whatever, and they're putting up new decks. They are, like you said, they're just using their money to get physical things so that the next decade or so is more comfortable for them. And I think everybody should be doing that. And that starts with growing food and then, repairing things. We got a new thing kind of in my house. It's not really new, but I've been trying to harp on my family about it. And it's more preaching to myself. I'm trying to wake up Now, what can I do today to better, improve my existence on this earth? Because you got to start with you, and then once you're comfortable, of course, you can start helping other people, and that's how the whole positive wave of things go. But it's hard to get people back into that vibe when they're panicking about world war and baby foods and their investments, becoming dust before their eyes, whether it's 401ks or stocks and bonds. Everything's taking a hit right now. But this isn't the first time, am I right, that this cycle of everything crashing, them preaching that the sky is falling as far as financial. I think this might be a little bit different because we're converting over to a world government. And I think the main point of everything right now is to get everybody herded into a singular system of tracking, tracing, monetizing. And that's just the way and the time that we're in. And it seems like they're in a rush now. They're in a rush to really convince people that they need to go over to the system so that they don't miss out on benefits and things like that. They're pitching this in a way that if you participate in all the programs, the give me programs, that somehow you'll make it out ahead. There's nothing free. So it's got to be coming from somewhere. People just don't get that. So you can't have a bunch of people trying to get free at the same time as things are collapsing. It just doesn't make sense. We're definitely going into that time. I think before long, you're going to start seeing evidence of people losing their minds. And I don't just mean because they lost millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars in crypto, but really worried about not making payments on their home, becoming homeless with their family. And then they just add these little things like the baby food. It's just straws that break the camel's back, or the last little bit of stress that makes people go over the edge. And then wait for the pharmaceutical shortages to come this year. And what I mean by that is not stuff that you would think of like antibiotics and stuff. That'll come later. I mean a shortage in all of these SSRI reuptake inhibitors, mood altering, mind altering substances that 40+% of our population is on. And then people are going to not be in their right minds. And we're just going to see bizarre things happening. Distraction in the public while they're redistributing the wealth into a global scheme that they've been trying to attain for so long.
Let me add another one. Could possibly be there to tip the apple cart over. Coinbase alluded to it when we first started tonight that they were warning that bankruptcy could wipe out user funds. Like, what does that really mean? Well, I read through the article and I even talked about it in the video I did on the Adapt 2030 channel. Coinbase considers you a general unsecured creditor. So if you're going to purchase the coin from them and then keep it on their exchange, which they have, or just their site, they own the keys, you don't. And that's the same thing that happened back to 2017 when Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash forked. Coinbase had all the private keys for everybody holding Bitcoin. And then they kept the Bitcoin Cash for themselves off the fork, and then subsequent forks off of that. But then some litigation came in and they're like, no, you can't steal that. It's just plain theft. And all the while the Bitcoin Cash price was dumping out and people wanted to get it and sell it, but there was a holdup forever to get your Bitcoin Cash legally yours. You bought the Bitcoin, it's in your Bitcoin account, it's in the account, in Bitcoin, in Coinbase, but they're like, nope, the forked coin, no, you don't have that. And see, that's how you first were introduced to Coinbase in 2017. That's the same Coinbase that's now saying you are a general unsecured creditor, meaning you have no right to claim for any of your property. So if they go bankrupt, they can actually grab everybody's cryptos in there and sell it before they ever go and ask the government for a bailout. They will steal everybody's funds, all the crypto, and then resell it and take that money legally. And here's the scary part. You might say, okay, well, that's just a fly-by-night crypto house, for a better term. But I'll bring you back to 2008 and 2009 with the financial crisis. After there was such turmoil in the markets, we have to pass laws. We must pass laws to make sure that these Wall Streeters don't do it again. And one of the laws they passed, while everybody was playing video games or watching Netflix, bank bail-ins. Now, see, the banks use their money from their what? Unsecured creditors, including depositors and bondholders, to pay off if they go bankrupt. Now, I'm seeing it in two places. That's every U.S. bank has that same law. The money is the bank's. They can choose to give it back to you or not. It's the same in Coinbase. They can choose to give you your crypto or not and send it out. When you send that transaction, it's the same verbiage that's used, unsecured creditor. So, Coinbase, you would expect that. It's crypto. I think from what I've seen for years now, it's just tread at your own caution on that one. But for every bank in America to use the same unsecured creditor, knowing that your bank, it works now and they are giving you the money back. But what happens when we step into some of these times that Ransom and I are talking about here, coming into August, coming into the harvest season, when there's already ready replacements for the US dollar and for the entire financial system? There's already 3 to 4 bedrock, very solid, completely functional replacements to go right now. People just have to adjust to it. They would adjust through the crash and a new monetary system being built. But the thing that would be terrible for everybody is thinking that they have their deposits in the bank is safe and it gets swooped. Safe deposit boxes also. If you have anything in a safe deposit box, and this is to anybody out there, that falls under the same exact law, that anything, banks use money from unsecured creditors. Depositor, you have a safe deposit box, you're depositing into your safe deposit box. I know it's the letter of the law. And let's say everything go terribly awry and they need money to stay afloat. They're going to go into every single lock box, every single safe deposit box, take everything out of there and sell it. That's the letter of the law. They're just choosing to give you your money back and they're choosing to allow you access currently. But what happens when we swing into like a full financial crisis where they do want to reset it and you can't get your money out of the bank and you can't get your crypto because they're both unsecured creditors? So both places just got taken out at the knees for your access to money. And you might read the law and say, well, it says banks can only use deposits in excess of $250,000 because the FDIC will come and reimburse you. If you have under $250,000, they'll still take the money. And then you're going to have to wait in line and then knock on the door of the FDIC to say, give me the money that the bank took. FDIC isn't there pressing a button saying, no, you got to leave $12 in Jane's account because, oh no, you can't take that $25,000 from Mike's account over there. No, it's under $250,000. You have to leave it there. You can't touch that one. Nope, they're going to swoop it all. And then the FDIC is going to reimburse you. And see, this should be a wake-up call.
We talk about scenarios, and I always get the impression off of people when I get kind of deep like that things can turn, at a moment's notice, that they don't really think that can happen here. And I hate to put a dark tone on it, but what we're doing right now is actually figuring out how to navigate the collapse of our civilization. We have inflation that's skyrocketing. We can talk about all these things, but look in every sector. Stock market slump ends since 401ks tanking. That's Daily Mail. And then you got MSNBC talking about the cost of living crisis and more inflation data coming in. So from every angle, what they're telling you is if you haven't prepared by now, you're a little screwed. But I think that's when Americans are finally going to wake up, that things can get really bad. And the way that in the form that they're going to do that is this passport that they're already controlling billions of people.
And we're gonna see the fallout of some sort of system here, which will quickly be. It's already set up. You already know where it's going, where it's going to. So, I would think, looking at a list, I actually went to Coinbase when you were talking, or not Coinbase, but CoinMarketCap, excuse me. For those of you out there, I'm just going to go through my list and take it for what it's worth. It's not financial advice. It's just, these are the ones I think still might be functional as we move to another economy. So Bitcoin for sure, Ethereum, obviously so much runs on that one. That is the base protocol layer for almost everything out there. That's not a functioning financial ecosystem. Tether, no. USDC, yes, because I've heard story that Tether and Algorand are going to team together in Africa and the Sahel to be able to put infrastructure for water and agriculture. So USDC, BNB, obviously, XRP, absolutely, Cardano, yes, the BNB, Solana, that's another one to look at. What do we, let's see, DAI, Maker DAI is a stable coin. Yes, absolutely. It's still at $1, even after all the market turmoil. It's still exactly at $1. I love the protocol. It'll cost you a few extra cents to get a DAI versus a Tether, but go for quality. It's like a stamped silver bar. You can get a generic or you can get a stamped silver bar with the serial number on it. That's what DAI is in terms of stable coins. So Litecoin, yes, absolutely. Chainlink, for sure, Stellar and Algorand. Now, there is some other side networks here like Ethereum Classic. Again, could be used as a payment medium. Monero, absolutely. VeChain, yes. And like I said, Pirate Chain is anonymity coins. Oh, Zcash, definitely put Zcash in your pocket there. Now, the graph, perhaps, but that's in the future, about 5 years when they move to Hashgraph. So the tech's out there already, what they're going to move to. So just put it in perspective also, Hashgraph is where they're moving to after blockchain. And I didn't say cryptocurrency, I said blockchain. So Hashgraph is what they'd anticipated to move to using blockchain as an interim step. I don't really see much else that I thought would make it through the transition here. And since we're getting further down, Decreed as well, that's another one. Oh, it's still $31. But anyway, those are out of the top 100 coins that I see, maybe Year in Finance also. Oh, NEM would be as well. And Quantum, but that's sort of a Chinese thing. But that's pretty much it that I think would survive. And that was scrolling through the top 100 coins off a coin market cap that I personally have seen or feel that might make it through the transition, looking at it from a different lens.
I think on Drudge, it said 200 billion disappeared in one day, but it didn't really disappear. It just lost value temporarily. Am I right in thinking that?
You know, what you're seeing on these listings here of like Coin Market Cap, and there's quite a few others, different services, just a price listing. That only shows the volume that went through an exchange. That didn't show over-the-counter orders. And that's mainly where these big corporations are buying and swooping up. Everything that's being sold right now is called OTC, over-the-counter. Like that's where they actually know, obviously they got the money. They're the ones who all started the exchanges. There's people with big money that go directly to an exchange and say, I want 300 Bitcoin. I'll take $1 million of Bitcoin right now and just serve it to me. But that's more of a direct thing that not through any of the exchanges, it's over the counter. So when you're looking at some of these volumes, it doesn't include exactly 100% of what's been transacted. Some of these larger purchases, you won't see it through the exchanges. So if you're watching Binance and whatever, or you're watching Coinbase on their Coinbase market there, they're not showing you the full volume. So behind the scenes, what's happening now is all the corporations that thought they missed the bandwagon after Michael Saylor came out and just preached to the choir Bitcoin, and then Elon Musk come out, and then all of a sudden right now, you got pension funds jumping in to get Bitcoin under their belt, insurance funds, retirement funds, banks themselves, ETFs are on the books. And there's a lot of big companies like MicroStrategy that swooped up a bunch of Bitcoin and they saw their balance sheets rise. Like you tripled the value of your company by buying Bitcoin. Can we do that too? The amount of Bitcoin that institutions are buying right now it's being bought while everybody's being scared while it drops 18 or 25%. Don't believe the hype.